Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. Today we're continuing east on US Highway 98, concurrent with Hidden State Road 30, and locally signed here as Miracle Strip Parkway, picking up at about mile 52.6 as we enter the city of Fort Walton Beach in Okaloosa County, Florida. Fort Walton Beach is a small Gulf Coast city of just over 20,000 residents, serving as a commercial and military gateway between Eglin Air Force Base to the north and the resort communities along the Emerald Coast to the east. This stretch of Miracle Strip Parkway is a busy suburban arterial with multiple lanes, continuous turn pockets, and closely spaced traffic signals providing access to shopping centers, hotels, and older bayfront neighborhoods along Santa Rosa Sound, while cross streets reach north toward residential areas in the Eglin Reservation. As we roll into town, you'll see a mix of mid-century strip development and newer infill projects that reflect the city's gradual evolution from a fishing village and military support town into a bedroom community and regional service center for Okaloosa County. As we continue through central Fort Walton Beach, we come to the signalized intersection with Beal Parkway, designated State Road 189, followed shortly by the major junction with Eglin Parkway, signed as State Road 85. Beal Parkway runs as a 4-lane divided arterial looping north and west around Cinco Bayou and Ocean City, acting as an important bypass route that connects US-98 with residential areas, shopping centers, and the western approaches to Eglin Air Force Base. Just ahead, Eglin Parkway, State Road 85, forms the primary north-south spine for Fort Walton Beach, carrying heavy commuter traffic across Cinco Bay and up towards Shalimar, Valparaiso, and the main Eglin Air Force Base complex before continuing inland toward Niceville and ultimately Interstate 10. Together, State Roads 189 and 85 help distribute traffic between the waterfront strip here on US-98 and the suburban neighborhoods and employment centers inland, making this short stretch of Miracle Strip Parkway one of the most signal-dense and heavily used segments of highway in the region. Leaving the cluster of downtown signals behind, US-98 bends southeast toward the shoreline and climbs onto the John T. Brooks Bridge, a high-rise fixed bridge that carries the highway over Santa Rosa Sound between Fort Walton Beach and Okaloosa Island. Santa Rosa Sound here is part of the Gulf Intracoastal Waterway, so as we cross, you'll often see pleasure boats and commercial traffic navigating the channel beneath the bridge while traffic streams overhead between the mainland and the barrier island. The existing Brooks Bridge dates back to the mid-1960s and carries 4 lanes with narrow shoulders and limited pedestrian space, which has made it a well-known bottleneck during summer tourist season and hurricane evacuations. And that's what led to the major replacement project you can see taking shape alongside the current structure. This roughly $170 million design-build effort is now underway to replace the aging span with 2 new parallel bridges that will provide 3 lanes in each direction, along with full shoulders and a 12-foot shared-use path for bicyclists and pedestrians. The new bridges are being built to higher hurricane, barge, and vessel impact standards, with a taller main span that increases vertical clearance for marine traffic moving along the Intracoastal Waterway through Santa Rosa Sound. On both the Fort Walton Beach and Okaloosa Island sides, the approaches are being realigned and widened to improve traffic flow, add safer turn lanes, and tie in more smoothly to the local street network once the existing Brooks Bridge is removed. We land on Okaloosa Island, an unincorporated barrier island community that forms the western end of Santa Rosa Island between Fort Walton Beach and Destin. Okaloosa Island is largely built out with high-rise condominiums, hotels, and beachfront homes on the Gulf side, while the North Shore along Santa Rosa Sound features parks, fishing piers, and public beach access areas that help make this one of the Emerald Coast's most popular vacation corridors. Much of the island is surrounded by or adjacent to county-managed beach parks and segments of the Gulf Island's shoreline that preserve long stretches of white sand and dunes, even as development clusters around the main access points along US-98. As the highway continues east here, the feel shifts from the more urban setting of Fort Walton Beach to a resort strip with frequent driveways for hotels and condos, marked pedestrian crossings for beachgoers, and intermittent views of both the Gulf of Mexico and Santa Rosa Sound on either side of the roadway. From Okaloosa Island, US-98 stays on its east-west alignment as it heads toward the narrow East Pass that connects Choctawhatchee Bay with the Gulf of Mexico, and this is where we cross the William T. Marler Bridge at the east end of the island. The Marler Bridge is another high-level span on US-98 carrying traffic over the East Pass between Okaloosa Island and the city of Destin, while maintaining enough clearance for charter boats, fishing vessels, and recreational craft moving between the harbor and the open Gulf. We'll bring this segment to a close at about mile 60.5 on US-98, where the highway continues ahead toward the beaches and harbor. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this drive, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and join us for our next 504 road trip.